Welcome back. A few weeks ago, maybe a month ago, I was browsing around YouTube as you do, and I got recommended a new content creator that I hadn't seen before. A channel by the name of The Ultimate Recycler. It turns out they're based out of regional Victoria here in Australia, and Chris was cleaning out his shed, and I just happened to spy some things in the background that looked like old PCs, and fast forward a few weeks, and Chris actually did a video about the first one of those PCs on his channel, which I'll try and remember to link to in the description. And long story short, I ended up buying that PC, and it arrived. I think it was last Friday it arrived. So let's get into it and see what we've got. So this is the machine in question. The hard drive front panel seems to have come off in shipping, but other than that, it arrived in not too bad a condition. Seems we've got a hard drive here, which is an old Seagate from memory, and a floppy drive that I'm betting is going to be a 360K because the vintage of the machine. No badge on the front, so don't immediately know who made it. Look around, we've got the old school IBM style paddle sort of power switch and some rust, so we're going to have to do something about this. Worst case, I suppose I could strip it down and get it repowder coated, but we'll see. And then round the back we've got, of course, the power supply, whopping great thing it is. This is just a keyboard port extender. Oh, no it's not. It's got some wires into the bottom of it. I have no idea what that is. I just assumed it was an extender, but apparently not. So I have to dig into that. I'm assuming that's a serial port. I'm guessing a parallel port, probably another parallel port, game port, video, which I assume is going to be CGA. And that is about it. And we have the other side, of course, which has got more rust. So spin it around and pop it open. So in the sort of card cage section, we've got some cables. These I think were unplugged earlier, so set those aside. This one seems to be still into the floppy drive, but that's all right. So we've got a card here. See if we can get that out. Oh, it's tight. Might have to apply some gentle persuasion. Very tight. So this one, it's got the what looks like a video port on the end, but it's also got a 6845, and that's a CRTC, so cathode ray tube controller, I think is the acronym. So that's going to be a video card. I don't know whether it's CGA or monochrome or what it's going to be, but it is a video card. And we'll need to be careful and check this because it's got some tantalum capacitors on it, and they have a habit of failing short, so we need to do some continuity checks on the power bus before we get too excited. Next up we have this one. This one's got a bit of a story to it, which you'll see if you can't already see it. You will see when I pull it out. It's just one tight as well, a little bit. Wow. Clang. So the giveaway on this one is this here Varta battery, which has spewed all the Varta goodness over these connectors, over some of the ICs up the legs, over the board. The board's a bit spotty where it looks like it's had a bit of corrosion. The card edge connector's a little green, and the back of the board's a little worse for wear as well. So that, with enough effort, you can fix these things. Whether it's worth the effort to fix that card, I haven't decided yet, but we'll see. The next up is this one. And this one is the hard drive controller. Don't know much about it. It just says Data Technology Corporation, so DTC 5150CX. So I'm sure I'll be able to Google that and find out a little bit more about it. But yeah, that's the hard drive controller. And that's actually got, oh no, I was going to say it had some potentially corrosion on the back, but it might be the beginnings of, but it just wiped off with my finger there, so might not be as bad as it looks. And over here we have the hard drive. And as you can see, ST225, so that's a Seagate. And I think the 225, casting my memory back, I think it was a 20 meg hard drive. From memory, it was MFM. I don't think it was RLL. I'm pretty sure it was MFM. And I don't think these were the most reliable drives ever made either. I remember having one or two of them back in the 90s, and I have a recollection that they kind of failed a little bit prematurely, but we'll see. We'll see if this one's any good. Time will tell. Why it was in the case upside down, I'm not sure. It may have just been put in there. It might have been pulled apart previously and then just put back in there upside down. Not sure. And next up, we have the 5¼ inch hard drive, 5¼ inch floppy drive. And I'm betting it's a 360K drive, just given the vintage of the machine. I mean, looking at the slots, they're the old 8-bit style slots. So it's going to be sort of an XT style machine, and 360s were all the rage back then. So I'm betting it's a 360K floppy drive, but I don't have one of those. And yeah, they're a little hard to come by in this neck of the woods. So I'm glad I've got one, and I hope it works. Something that will require cleaning up is this 8-bit slot here. I don't know if you can see it well on the camera, but she'd be a little bit green. That's the card. Oh, sorry, that's the slot that what was the one with the corrosion on it? I think it was an IO card. That's where that card was. And obviously the Vata goodness has made its way down into there. So I'll have a go at cleaning it up. Worst case, I can desolder it, and I'm pretty sure you can still buy these connectors. So worst case, I could put another one in if I needed to. Other than that, doesn't appear to be any obvious corrosion damage on the board. But time will tell. So I think next up, I'll take that floppy drive out, and I'll probably look at taking the motherboard out, just so we can give it a closer look over. And of course, before I turn anything on, I'm going to be checking that power supply, because power supply that old, I don't trust it as far as I can kick it. So halfway through the process of pulling this apart, I've got the motherboard out, and yeah, that revealed what this is. So this adapter is basically, it's just allows the key switch here at the front to interrupt the keyboard. So when you lock the switch at the front, it disables the keyboard. That's all it is. So if you don't need that function of that key switch, you don't need that. So that's our collection of parts out of the case. A bit of dust there we'll need to clean up, obviously. But I think the first thing we need to do is check that power supply, because obviously without that, nothing much is really going to power up. Worst case, I do have an adapter, so I could use an ATX power supply to power it up, but I think we'll investigate the 150 watt power supply that came in the case first and see if that's working. Okay, so in the interests of maximum entertainment, I am going to open this power supply up so that when it goes bang, you can all see it. Instead of just seeing the smoke coming out through the vents, you'll be able to see what actually exploded. Not that I expect it's going to go bang, but it'd be a shame to not catch it if it does. One of these days I'll find my next size up screwdriver. Oh, there's more on the other side. They didn't want this power supply coming apart inadvertently, apparently. It's been screwed together with what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9 screws that I've found so far. Is there another one? Right, so unplug the fan. See, there's just a little bit of dust in here. I thought it was going to wipe off easily, but it's sort of matted on, so a bit nasty. But anyway, we don't need that where we're going. And then yeah, in here, looks like there might have been a little bit of liquid. It's a bit, need some better lighting. Let me find a torch. So it looks like there's been a little bit of moisture up on the end of the board here. Don't know if that's some leaky caps, but it's probably just from external. Yeah, nothing's leaping out at me as having blown up previously, so yeah. So I'll just have to find myself a little bit of a dummy load to plug into this, because I don't reckon it's going to start up without some sort of load on it, and then we'll get to trying it out. Okay, so I've got a car headlight. That ought to be good for a decent amount of juice. And we'll plug the power in. Hopefully this doesn't go bang, because it is turned on. Right, well, nothing's gone bang yet, but the power supply itself's not turned on. The power cord was, but the power supply is not. So let's turn on and see what happens. Well, that was uneventful. We didn't get any bangs, but we didn't get any power either. Have we got a blown fuse or something? There is a fuse buried down in there that I can barely see. Let's just unplug the mains first. Get that out of my way. And of course I've got to be careful, because some of these caps, well, are probably not charged actually, because we weren't getting any juice apparently. Right, let's have a look at this fuse. It's way down in here where you can barely see it. Well, the fuse is okay. I suspect I'm going to have to take this out of here in order to get a better view of it. Maybe our bridge rectifier's failed. Maybe there's another fuse I haven't seen yet. But clearly something is not very happy. Well, it's been a few days, and I can't remember where I got up to in the video, but I've been doing some work on this power supply, and yeah, I've learned a few things. So I think where we left off last time, we had no voltage coming out of it at all. And I ended up replacing the capacitors. You can see a nice little pile of old capacitors there. And we've got new ones in pretty much everywhere. And that was enough to get it producing voltage, but I was getting like 3.4 volts on the 5 volt rail. I was like, well, that's not very good. So I grabbed another power supply, another AT power supply that I've got, a spare one here, plugged it in, and lo and behold, it was doing the exact same thing. And I'm like, well, this is not a coincidence. I'm clearly doing something wrong here. And then it dawned on me what I was doing. I had both power supplies plugged in through this light globe, and the idea of this, I was mostly using it just because it had a switch, and the way I had the power supply sort of cobbled up so I could work on it, I had no switch, and I thought, well, I'll use this, I've got a switch, and I'll be able to see if it's drawing current. Well, long story short, I was clearly losing enough voltage across the light globe that the power supply wasn't getting enough voltage. At least I assumed that's what was going on. And I took my spare power supply, disconnected it from the light globe, plugged it straight into the mains, and beautiful, 5 volts on the 5 volt rail. So I'm betting that this one's going to be the same and it's going to work just fine when I put it back in its case. So I'll get into cleaning that case because the case is still a bit of a mess. You can see I've given the board a little bit of a clean up, but the case still needs a clean up, so I'll do that and I'll come back when we're done. And there we have it, one power supply put back together. I've given it a bit of a wipe down. It's not perfect, but it's a lot cleaner and substantially cleaner on the inside than it was when I took it apart. So yeah, now we can move on. So next cab off the rank with this motherboard, I think, is we've got this slot with corrosion in it that we've got to deal with. But before we do that, I suppose we probably should look at powering this board up and seeing if it even works. So I'll find a power supply. I'll probably use my spare one rather than the one I've just cleaned. And I'm guessing, I think I've got a keyboard somewhere. I'm going to have to find a video card and a speaker. But even before I do that, I suppose I should check for shorts across the voltage rails, because these little tantalum capacitors that are all over the board, they like to fail as a short circuit, and that can either stop the machine booting up, or if they fail as a short when it's running, they can literally explode. So we'll give it a quick check, just make sure it's there's no shorts on the rails, and go from there. So fortunately this board has its power input here, but also has like test pads here as well. So let's just see, we'll go to the ohms range. This is ground, so ground to 12 volts. Yeah, some resistance there to -5 is good, to -12 seems good. To 5 volts we got like 590 ohms. It's another 5 volts, it should be ballpark the same, yep. So we don't appear at this point to have any shorts across the power rails, which means these tantalum caps over here, they haven't failed short yet. Doesn't mean they won't, but they haven't yet. Right, now I've got the video card. This is the video card that came with the machine actually. I've got that in the board. Now this has got some tantalum caps on it as well. So we'll check our power again, just in case. 5 volts, 16 ohms. That is quite a reduction. It's not exactly a short, but it's quite a reduction. But there is a lot more TTL logic on there that's sitting on the 5 volt rail, so it might not be bad. -12, 300 odd ohms. Mega ohms, -5. Whoa. And the 12 volt rail is a dead short. So something in that video card, probably one of those tantalums, is across the 12 volt rail and is shorting it out. Let's just remove the video card just to be sure. Video card is out. Oh, maybe it's the power supply, because I have got the power supply plugged in, so maybe that's what's doing it. Let's just unplug the power supply for the moment and see if we've still got that. Yeah, we've still got a short. Wow. Didn't have a short a minute ago. So something's happened on the 12 volt rail. Oh, let's go hunting. So the usual way to hunt for these sort of faults is to check the resistance at various points on the board. I'll try and keep that where you can see it. So it's 0.2 or 0.1, what's our meter? Yeah, our leads. 0.1, 0.2. So I'd say we're a dead short, pretty close to... Is that on the same rail? That's on the same rail. So that must be on the 5 volt rail, that one. That one's a short, but that's further away because the resistance is higher. So for my money, I'm guessing the tantalum with the problem's over here somewhere. So it could be this one here on the end. That one. And then I reckon we're getting further away here. It's on the 5 volt rail. There's one over in here. If I can get the probe into it. It's on the 5 volt rail as well. So it could be this one, or was it this one? No, it wasn't that one. Oh, that's right, it was one over here. So I reckon there's a good chance it's that one right there. Right, so this little capacitor is removed. See if it's fixed the problem. Ground and 12 volts. Yep, no short there at all now, completely open. That should be the same. Yep. So, see if we can fire this thing up before another capacitor goes bad. It's kind of par for the course for these older machines. We'll put our video card in. Yep. Right. Keyboard in. My recollection is that AT or XT-AT keyboards don't like being plugged in when they're turned on. Bring our power supply over. Plug our juicers in. So these are plugged in with the blacks to the centre. There's the power cord. Oh, I can see the monitor sort of flickering a bit. Let's turn the power supply on, see what happens. See if we have any more tantalums go bang. Oh, well, something's happening. I've never used a PC with a 1084 monitor before, but I believe they do work. I'm told they do. Now, I've never had a PC working with this monitor. I'm told they work, but at this point I don't know if it's the monitor, the computer, or lack of skill on my part. Could be any of the above. So I've got this other video card. It claims to be a mono graphic printer and 132 column card, so yeah. I picked it up on eBay. I haven't had a chance to even fire it up yet, so it'll be interesting to see if it works. There's no guarantees that it will. And works exactly the same. But that is a mono card, and I don't know whether they work with a 1084 actually. Maybe this other card that came with the machine is a mono card as well. Well, I'm pretty sure the 1084 works with CGA, but maybe these aren't CGA cards. Okay, so we fast forward a couple of weeks. The video card I've confirmed, is not a CGA card, it's an MDA card, and the 1084 monitor just doesn't like MDA cards. So in the meantime, I ordered up some RGB to HDMI circuit boards. That's the card, well the board that's on top here, and then there's an interface board in the middle, and the bottom's just a Raspberry Pi Zero. So I ordered some of those. Well, the boards come in a bunch of 5. That's just the way they come from the board manufacturer. The CPLD chips, yeah, they're a bit pricey. They're about $15 each, and the Raspberry Pis I think were, I don't know, somewhere around 15 as well. But yeah, so we'll try with this and see if we get a useful picture. So first up, we'll plug the CGA cable into the RGB to HDMI, plug the HDMI in, and then we'll plug some power into the Raspberry Pi. Right, and the Raspberry Pi is booted. We've got our power plugged into our power supply. Let's turn it on and see what happens. I don't know if that's my capture device that was playing up then, or interesting. Cards pushed home. The computer's got a wedgie for some reason. What's going on there? We still got a problem? Well, I say it's got a wedgie. The LEDs on the keyboard over here were not working. It may be normal. But why? Let's just try turning it on again. We are turned off, aren't we? Yep. I'll just pop this video card out and maybe just reseat it. Cable's plugged in. Yep. And our Raspberry Pi, yeah, that's working. We've got a wedgie again. Well, say we've got a wedgie, the lights are stuck on, but again, that could be normal. Give some of these chips a bit of a push. I haven't actually reseated any of these ICs yet. And we'll see what we get. Make sure our RGB to HDMI is working. Yeah, it is. Turned on. Hey! Nice. Will it pass the memory test? Slowest memory test ever. I don't know how many times it goes through this. That's it. Yeah, it's presumably trying to find a floppy drive, which it won't because there isn't one connected. But at least the board powers up, so that's a start. So I think we'll leave it there for this video. We've sort of proven that the board probably works. I will revisit those tantalum capacitors because if I don't replace those, they're just going to cause me grief in future. And next time round, I don't know, we might see if we can get it to boot off a floppy or off an XT-IDE card and do something a little bit useful. So anyway, for now, we'll call it it done for this video. If you liked it, feel free to subscribe or like, or drop some comments down. Tell me what you would like me to do, what you thought of it. And yeah, I'll see you next time. Cheers.